All right. Hello, my name is Landon. You are watching the fastest known time from pond parking to topping out Nobody Gets Out of Here Alive and back, aka Nobody Runs Out of Here Alive. The time in this video is 8 minutes, 45 seconds. You might be asking yourself, why am I filming my legs so much? The answer is that actually I'm not the first person to do this. There's a few earlier ascensionists that I will shout out, but a lot of people claimed bullshit, and we'll talk about problems with that later on. But I just wanted to put it on video to showcase this challenge and also to make sure that we knew definitely it had been done and it could be done in this time. So, you might be asking yourself, why? How did you make this up? Well, the answer is that I did not make it up. A couple of buddies from the Rock Ranch were all at Pizza Hooters. If you've been to Waco recently, you know about this place. It's a little bar called The Union, and on Wednesdays they have $1 pizza. It has its name because the only caveat is that there is scantily dressed waitresses who really look like they don't want to be there. If you can get over the misogynistic vibes, then you're in for a great night of pizza. And it only cost $1 plus $1 per topping. Little plug there. Maybe I'll get a sponsor. But anyway, we were discussing the Waco Olympics and what the possible events would be. I said knee bar marathon, longest time in a knee bar. Someone else said longest time in line, so like longest possible wait before getting into the park. And my friend Kate Kissler said fastest known time from pond parking to topping out Nobody Gets Out of Here Alive and back, which we all got weirdly psyched on. That was a few months ago. Today, March 4th, 2024, it officially happened. So the first iteration was actually done by Alex Dietz. There's a little bit of a debacle with this for a few reasons, but one of these was that he left his phone timer on top of the trash can, and one of the rangers actually came and took it, so the first time was not officially recorded. And afterwards, once he did it with his time of 8 minutes and 53 seconds, a lot of people said that is too fast. There's no way. If you've been to Waco, you know the change trail kinda sucks. And a lot of people were hesitant to buy in. Thus, we have this video. I do want to shout him out, though, for being the first one to do it and getting a pretty damn good time, good enough that other people thought it was not possible. Other early ascensionists who got on this before me were Ale Valenzuela, happy birthday, by the way, and Fabian Ache. Shout out to those two also for knocking it out nice and bright and early. I woke up to a text telling me they had done it. I knew I had to go try to claim the throne. So, some other points about this is not just that I wanted to have proof that I had completed it, but also to establish rules so that everyone knows what to do later on in the future. You'll notice that I started my video on the trash can. At the time, I'd kind of envisioned the trash can being a standard for the starting point. I'll also finish on the trash can for that reason. But we have since talked it out, and we actually think that the asphalt is a more natural starting point. Probably just like as far through pond parking as you can get while still standing on asphalt. And that would be the start and finish line. Just that there's something definitive that cannot move that's right there. The other rule is that you have to do a foot cam start, which you'll see me do in just a second. So you jam both those feet in the Waco, touch your shoulders to the ground, sit back up to the start holds, and then you're good to start climbing. Aside from those two things, though, there's no other stipulations. You don't have to use the chain trail. You don't have to go any specific way. You don't have to use any beta for the climb other than inserting both feet, shoulders to the ground, and then move on. One maybe possible point of contention is if you use your hands to push up, is it a dab? I don't know. That's for you to decide. So coming back to the route and things that are or aren't required, I think there's a few ways we could shave down this time pretty easily. Personally, I think it'll probably go to 6-ish very soon. As you can see, I do a lot of lollygagging. I breathe a lot. I'm stopping. I'm resting. I am going very slow on the top out. I did a lot of walking. I did not think I was going to end up with the fastest time here. But as luck would have it, I looked at my phone at the end and realized that if I booked it, I could wrap up with a pretty good time. So I actually went up the slab to the right of the chain trail. There's a little bit more of a direct route there. It's slightly steeper. I think the chain trail offers more friendly terrain. It's less steep, but it does extend the whole loop a little bit more. So if you don't do that, I think you can get up to the top quicker. I also think that there's probably a little bit of room to play with the descent. Uh, Personally, I went down the chain trail just because it is polished, but you have those chains there in case you slip. I wonder if maybe the left line also could be faster. I wonder what potential for other lines up and down there are. As you can see, I handed off my phone and had to come back and grab it. I think if you don't have a phone, maybe, or if someone's like already there to film you, you could just jump right off the back of nobody and immediately start running back. Another thing that we maybe should talk about in terms of the use of the phone is, does it have to be recorded? I thought initially we're boulderers, if you're at Waco, probably, or at least you're a boulderer for the time that you're there. Everything's always got to have some footy. But that does seem a little biased, and people without smartphones shouldn't need to have one in order to have a valid time. Um, I think that maybe there's some interest in still having a video of you climbing it. That still doesn't avoid sort of financial privilege that's included in that. Maybe witnesses is okay. We haven't really found a definitive common ground on this one yet, whether or not you need some kind of proof. But maybe people can talk about that, figure it out later on. I did also record this on Strava, which you'll see at the end. Came out to about half a mile there and back, but it is a brutal half mile. Definitely was surprised by how difficult it felt. And something that's maybe worth noting too is that the climb really is the rest. Like, climbing V2 is way easier than sprinting uphill. So if you're trying to figure out how to maximize your speed, I would say to like count on the actual line and climbing nobody being the way to get that back. I've also sort of envisioned like a paddle dyno on the roof. Like maybe if you got a really big swing, you could go straight from the start jug to just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like all the way through to the lip. Because all those holes are so good that if you got a really good swing, if you're really good at campusing, you could probably make that section last like 5 seconds or less. Um, Something else you should know, though, too, while we're talking about time, is to try to use common sense. Like I said a second ago, the chain trail is pretty damn polished. It's precipitous run down. You don't have that same soil that you might have on normal trail runs to like soften your fall. So as you're going down, use common sense. If you are going to take a risk and go a little bit faster, remember too that Waco already has limited access, and someone cracking their head open in front of a family of four while running down the chains is probably enough for a extremely unfortunate access revocation to take place. So don't do anything that you wouldn't do if you were climbing, and if you are a risky climber, just think of everybody else as well. The last thing I'll say too is just be respectful. So like before I did it, I went up, I talked to everyone. I let them know, hey, I was gonna be running through here. I just want to make sure that like I'm not gonna be cutting anyone else off on nobody. Don't be a dick. Think of others, and that probably should be fine. As long as you just walk up and have the same sort of conversation you'd normally have, I don't think that there would be much of an issue there. So I think that's all the points that I had. Hope you're stoked. Nobody runs out of here alive.